Fellas,
What's up?
what's going on, guys?
Not much. How are you?
Good. Jacket talk numero uno beta.
Number one.
Number one. I'm Ramsey, LEBtv, sitting down with a couple of dudes from Jacket Nation Sports. Alex?
Alex Boyer, the owner of Jacket Nation Sports.
And we got...
Trey Overstreet, employee of Jacket Nation Sports.
And coach.
And coach, golf coach, former football coach,
Yeah.
former basketball coach, former track coach. Shout out Shane Redmond.
Alumni.
Alumni, yeah.
Jacket alumnus.
LHS class of 2013.
2013.
2009 here.
2001 here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Once a jacket, always a jacket.
Which of us had the best quarterback? I'm going to vote Joey Denny.
Joey,
Joey can
would,
run.
it's Ryan Howerton for sure.
Well,
But,
sure,
yeah, Joey's on the list for sure.
I had Hayden Brackett. Not bad. Brock West at running back, though.
So, guys, we're sitting down today, and we're going to kind of preview something that a lot of people have asked questions about. There was some talk back in the spring, and people wondering and opinionated on this new conference. So, Alex, I want you to kind of dive into what you know about the conference and just kind of tell us how things shook out.
Yeah, so there's always been rumblings, the past few years about maybe a conference realignment coming, and you've seen it in the college game. Obviously, no more Pac-12, teams moving to the Big Ten, SEC, that type of thing. So it was only a matter of time before it reached the high school level, and then kind of towards the middle of the fall season, I think, is whenever it started to pick up a lot of steam, and then all of a sudden there was a new conference made called the Ozark Mountain Conference. So teams started to leave the Ozark Conference, leave the Central Ozark Conference, Big 8 Conference, things like that. So a lot of these schools were trying to join this new conference, which left the Ozark Conference kind of as the odd man out. So those schools in the OC had to find new homes, and Lebanon chose the Central Ozark Conference as their new home. Republic, Nixa, Joplin, Webb City, Carthage, those schools are who will be playing.
We'll get into some more of that later, but joining that particular conference left a void. So I think we can address the elephant in the room right now. No more Camdenton on the football schedule.
Camdenton's going up north to the CMAC, Central Missouri Activities Association. So they'll be with Hickman, Rockbridge, Jeff City schools. And, no more Highway 5, at least for football. I think the other sports are able to schedule them as non-conference opponents, but with football, you're strict to your conference-only games.
Gotcha. So, Trey, golf. Let's kind of step away from football for a second. Golf coach, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit from a coach's perspective about how that changes what you guys are doing or different things that you're looking forward to embracing in the spring.
Yeah, Alex mentioned that the other sports outside of football have a little bit more leeway in their scheduling, and golf really, regular season-wise, it's not going to affect us at all. I don't think I'm going to switch my schedule whatsoever. When it comes to conference championship time, it'll be probably at a different location. We usually do that in the Springfield area just because it was kind of center, but I would imagine that we end up in the Joplin area at least every few rotations.
Gotcha. Well, that sounds fun. From a streaming point of view and the things that you've got going on with Jacket Nation, kind of tell us about what you're looking forward to or maybe some of the hiccups you're embracing this season, this year.
Yeah, year two, so looking forward to making some improvements. Had a lot of success in year one, and a big part of that was because of this community support that I was able to get from businesses around town. They really bought into it. It didn't take much convincing once they kind of saw the product, and I was really thankful for all the support that I got from businesses. But heading into year two, obviously, most people have probably seen the big news about landing Kevin Stubblefield, and I think anytime you're able to pick up a Hall of Fame broadcaster and add him to the crew, you're doing something right. So, looking forward to working with a legend like Kevin. And then obviously getting to partner with you guys at LEBtv. Got some really cool things on the way with Jacket Talk like this, and then Trey's going to have a segment of his own, and we're gonna make it the best that we possibly can.
Yeah, let's dive into what we're affectionately titling Chalk Talk?
Chalk Talk.
Let's talk a little bit more about it, because Trey, this is a kind of a new realm for you, right?
Yeah, definitely never done a hosted a segment or anything like that, but the Chalk Talk part of it is pretty normal for me, as I spent the last, basically from when I left Lebanon High School as a player. I've been in some way related to the program since then, and then at different levels also. So the coaching aspect, that's not anything different, but we'll basically weekly are going to sit down on Mondays with a coordinator, usually Coach Summer, Coach Allen. Occasionally maybe get Coach Christian in there or Coach Pierce, maybe a position coach once or twice a year to go over just a play or two that kind of made the week before that what it was, kind of a key play. So it may be a defensive play. It may not be what the fans might think as the biggest play of the game in their eyes, but something that the coaches and I saw that really changed the game from an X and O standpoint, and just being able to highlight what goes into preparation each week. Defensively is probably going to, when we're talking with Coach Allen, you may see us look more at a Nixa team than we do even our own shell coverage back there, and what Coach Allen and his staff saw in the week before that led up to that game, and how they decided to defend them. So,
right. So you're going to be able to get a little bit more, or in this case, a lot more, because we've got over 30 of these planned. Okay. So it's not just going to stop at football, but you're going to get a better sense of who these coaches are, kind of a little behind the scenes into how they prep, because I'm sure we'll talk about maybe keys that they were focusing on. And this isn't all about, like you said, it's not going to be all the touchdowns or the things. It could be mistakes that were made. It could be ways to bring in something a little bit more tangible into the coverage of the team, right?
Yeah, I think when you think Chalk Talk as a coach, you're usually not going back on that Saturday morning, Sunday afternoon, and looking at all the plays that you had that went really, really well. A lot of times it's the complete opposite, and you're trying to look at, we were running inside veer here and we missed something. We didn't communicate something. We didn't get a call right. We missed a block. Why'd we miss it? So some weeks it will be more, not critical, but more correctional. And right. Some weeks it'll be, a pick six, and they disguise the coverage. We disguise the coverage well, and Coach Allen made the right call, and a kid made a play. And I think it'll help kind of show that balance of the preparation that the coaching staff and kids put in from Saturday, really Friday night for some of those coaches after the first game ends, all the way until 7 o'clock that next Friday, and balance that weekly prep with the on-field performance.
All right. So we know Jacket Nation is partnering with LEBtv on this Jacket Talk, and we talked about segment 3 of the show. Let's talk a little bit more about some of the plans for Jacket Talk that you have, Alex, on the front end, the first 2 segments of it.
Yeah, so the first segment will be myself kind of just recapping the week in Lebanon sports, talking about different programs, highlighting some different student athletes and the job that they're doing. We don't want to make it all about football.
Right.
Want to get every sport, every student athlete that we can involved in this. This is what it's really, it's what it's all about, just making sure that the student athletes get the coverage that they deserve and the programs get the coverage that they deserve. So the beginning will be that, and then I'll kick it over to Kevin Stubblefield at Buzz Cuts.
Speaking of Buzz Cuts, I think we all got it cleaned up this week at some point. We all have hat hair too, but
I think I may be the only one that had to pay for my haircut, Jason. So talking about that,
but
I didn't tell him.
Huge thanks to Jason Starnes that will be on site at Buzz Cuts every Wednesday at 11 o'clock, and looking forward to that partnership with him. And but that will be Kevin and Coach Christian every Wednesday at the barbershop. So I think we're going to open it up to people too. So if they're wanting to come get their haircut during that time and
hang out,
kind of
a little that old school barbershop kind of feel, get some folks. I'm excited because we're going to from that interview, there will be pieces of that used in the Jacket Talk episode, but we're also going to produce a whole new podcast style. And for us, it's cool because what we've got to know about Kevin and seeing the new Kevin is what I'm going to kind of call it. And I don't know if he likes that or not, but he's embraced this video side of things. So we're going we're going to get to have essentially a no limit discussion with him because we're not dictated by time like we were on the radio. So getting Coach Christian and Kevin. Coach Kevin. We're calling him Coach Kevin.
There you go.
No, getting them to kind of break down a little bit and get a little more raw about some of the things that are happening. With Coach Christian, he's involved in so much stuff. He's not just the football coach. Yeah. He's not just the athletic director. He's everywhere. I think you mentioned a story one time about he finished up on a Friday night and was at a cross country something Saturday, and then you rode with him. Tell us some more.
Yeah. Coach Christian he's a legend and rightfully so. I think there are no other athletic directors in the state and maybe not the country that work as hard as he does. And he's not, he is the football coach, and that's probably priority one for him, at least through the fall. And then, but he balances that incredibly well. And he's known often to, Friday night district football game to Saturday state championship cross country. I was there watching my niece Maya, and he's like, I got to drive to Glendale to go support the men's soccer team that's competing for, I think, a district title at that time a few years back. And he's like, we got to go now. I was like, I'll ride back with you, and we'll enjoy that. And it's just kind of that experience, like, set in stone, the commitment he has to Lebanon sports and the community, and especially the kids.
Well, and it's been really cool to see, because watching Jacket Nation last year from a little bit of a distance and kind of seeing, and I know with some of the stuff that Brian's tried to do on the back end or has done, putting these students first and really embracing new technology, social media, exposure, quote, marketing, if you will, with the football program. But let's tell us, what have you seen in that regard, Alex, with some of this stuff?
I mean, all the coaches, all the programs, I mean, that's where it starts with, after the community support and getting all the fans to buy in and all the businesses to buy in on what we're doing. It starts with the coaches, building relationships with coaches, and just being able to, I was at the newspaper before this as a sports editor, so I've gotten to know a lot of these coaches on a personal level, and they've bought in completely to what I've been doing, and they're willing to promote their kids to any way they can.
Now, something I guess I missed at one point, speaking of, you're a bit of an assistant coach too, right? Is that the official title, Trey?
Yeah, I think so. I kind of jokingly call him my social media coordinator for the golf team,
right.
But he does a lot more than just that, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, some of the stuff Alex did last spring and Swino's done really highlighted in a different way the golf team. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, Brian did a intro video that Coach Boyer, funded on his own. He's like, this is going to be awesome. Do I have to call him
Coach Boyer?
Yeah, I call him different things too, but we'll stick to Coach Boyer here for that, at least in this scenario. So yeah, the boys just call him Alex. Boyer, I don't know if I've ever used his first name, so we'll go with Boyer. They set up, and Brian came and shot video, and honestly, it was one of those things where I thought, this is going to take forever, and I don't know if and the kids are always a little bit squirrels at any point. You've got a bunch of 15 to 18-year-old boys. I thought they did pretty good, and Brian led. I mean, it was very efficient, and we left, and we're like, it could be good. I don't know. It feels like we got a lot of stuff, and then a couple weeks later, I'm on vacation, spring break, and Boyer's like, it's awesome. My nephew was a senior on the team, so he was with me. We were out on vacation together, and we watched it immediately. Like, holy cow, this is like way cooler than you can imagine. And then when the boys first saw it, it was like, I mean, that was awesome. And really, not only were the only athletic program in Lebanon, basketball had done their thing, boys and girls basketball, Brian done, and it was awesome. But there was no golf teams getting that kind of stuff,
right.
and it just seeing the boys light up and seeing just how we were able to use that, and how I'm going to use it every year as a recruiting tool, and we fully plan on running it back again next year, and it was it was an invaluable thing that we could do for our kids to get, because golf, it's not. Right. We know where we're at on the totem pole.
Right.
We try to not to make any waves and any negative waves in the athletic department, and keep everything in the green. But all of those activities and athletics that Coach Christian operates, he treats with, it's equal everywhere, and they're all worthy of getting the coverage they deserve, and that's why, with the newspaper not covering it as much and losing KJL's sports coverage, the Jacket Nation stepping in to do, take over that and to take it to a different level completely.
Right. I think that's the coolest part for me watching from the outside in, is seeing the level and being able to look at the level of what's been put out there and look at some of these, that you watch on TV or social media, Twitter, X, the coverage that some of these athletic at universities and even professional sports get, seeing what the golf team did and going back to what happened with the intro video for 2023 football with Dalton.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. So I'm excited to see, you've mentioned it a couple times, Alex, that leveling up Jacket Nation, and anything you want to talk about different on a Friday night that we might see this year that we didn't see last year?
Yeah, so we have a lot of things planned for 2024. Want to level it up. That's the word that you and I have always used together whenever, just how do we level this thing up? And obviously landing Kevin will be different. You get to hear a legend's voice, a recognizable voice, and I'm going to have 2 different camera angles. I think that's the plan for home games, is have a camera on the sideline and then a camera up top in the press box that we used last year. So being able to switch camera angles will be really cool. And I don't know if we're allowed to say it, but I'm going to say it anyways. Nathan Warson with Warson Media is gonna input some drone coverage for us into our stream. So that's going to be awesome to have somebody who's top of the totem pole for their profession to come do that for us. Is
Rumor has it he bought a specific drone that allows him to specifically fly over people that he wasn't allowed to do before. So
that's not surprising at all.
So we'll see.
He had his drone at the basketball games a couple times.
Yeah.
It's like you see him on TikToks. These guys are flying these things around.
Right.
I think he'd put him out of business if he.
Yeah, he's got a really cool, and he'll be able to, without giving too much of it away, he'll be able to live. You'll be able to switch, or the producer of Jacket Nation will be able to switch directly to his drone. So there'll be seamless shots back and forth from different angles, and that's going to be really cool. Speaking of that, I saw you just brought on a touchdown. Let's hear this. What's it going to sound like on a Friday night?
Well, this will be Kevin, but it will, the Jackets get on the board with a riverfront campground and canoe touchdown, like something along those lines. I can't do it as well as Kevin will, but
that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
And then actually locked down a first down sponsor too. Was looking for that. Jonesy's is coming on as a first down sponsor, so I can't thank Scott enough at Jonesy's Travel Center for the support that he's shown me.
He was in there getting his high and tight whenever I was getting my high and tight yesterday.
It's
Tuesday.
a family business.
Yeah.
I also do want to hit on, and then we'll have our coverage, and then Brian will be down there on the sidelines doing his thing, taking pictures, and I think he's got an assistant that will be shooting some videos. So I mean, it's gonna be top notch stuff, and
maybe even a pregame show.
That's the rumor. I don't know.
Right, we'll see. We'll see. We're working out some bugs on that. And then of course adding the Jacket Talk side of things, and this what you're going to be doing. We talked previously the other day, maybe when we botched our first recording, but we won't really go into detail on that because we're not supposed to talk about that. But we talked specifically about some of the things that how your career, your trajectory, and your arc. So I know golf head coach now, but that's really it, right? Other than
dad and husband, but I've went from I legitimately have coached about every spring sport in the district. I feel like when you sign on as a young kid to teach and coach, you kind of agree to help out where needed. And it was something that I don't think there's a sport that we offer that I've not been to watch or wanted to learn more about, and I eat it all up. So anytime I could help, I would. But golf's always been a passion of mine, and football is where, Coach Christian definitely changed my life as a 16 or 17-year-old. I didn't start playing football in Lebanon after moving from Oklahoma until my junior year, and it was just constant pressure from him and pressure from my high school basketball coach, Kyle Paulson, to, hey, you need to go do, you could help us, you can be a part of something. and I'd loved football. I was always a football guy, but you're just nervous, you know. It's a physical game, and I was new. And my junior year, I decided to take it up, and all my best friends were a part of that team, and we had a solid year. And just kind of throughout that process, football kind of festered and grew. And when I left Lebanon in 2009, I was enrolled at the University of Missouri, and I went to the team camp that we'd went to for years, or I guess we went to for years. It was our second year there. And Coach Christian was like, "Hey, if you want to be a football coach, like, you're about to be introduced to some really big names here. You should probably just, step up and go talk to them." And we got on the elevator to go up to the press box. They do a coach's social and have a good time. And I was a designated driver, but water. And Coach Yost, David Yost, the offensive coordinator for the University of Missouri, happened to hop on.
Right?
Yeah, yes. Yeah. He stepped on the elevator, and Coach Christian's, kneeing me and elbowing me and being super nonchalant about it. And he's like, I just introduced myself and told him I was going to be enrolled there, and asked if there was any way I could, be of help to them. And he was like, immediately, in David Yost fashion, was like ecstatic about it, that I would even speak to him. And they happened to have a quarterback student assistant job open. They keep 2 of them, or did at the time. They probably have 9 now. And so I did that for every day for 2 years before an issue or whatever. And then I was pretty much constantly in contact with Coach Christian and the staff, and coming back and helping, and all summer would spend time with them. And as soon as I wanted to be a football coach at that point, it was locked in. And as soon as I graduated from Mizzou, or almost graduated from Mizzou, I'm about to finish up officially here in a week. So I was going to be coaching at Glendale for a family friend that was the head coach there. And we had a coach leave very last minute for a head coaching job, and a spot opened up here. And here I was coaching high school football and 8th grade basketball for Coach Adam Thornhill. And I think I had the springs off then. I ended up helping Coach Redmond out for a few years doing high jump, which I know nothing about still. And then the golf job, when it transitioned into Zach Hines, I started helping out, and then Zach took a job in a different career path, and I took over there, and just kind of that's my main focus, being able to spend a little more time with wife and baby, and about to be baby 2 coming up. Yeah. So it's good to have a little bit more free time in the fall. And then, Jacket Nation, Alex has been for years. I mean, this seemed like it was thrown together from some people's standpoints, but, for year one, for that production to be where it was exciting. And he's been in his head doing this for at least 2 or 3 years, knowing like this is something that the community needs, and it's something that will provide something for the community while allowing him to make a living as well.
So, yeah, let's talk a little bit about your history, Alex, and kind of where you came from. Started paper, obviously?
Yeah, started at the newspaper, got towards the end of my senior year, I knew I was going to stay in town and go to OTC, so I had interest in covering sports. And ever since I was a kid, I would pick up the Daily Record at the time, and I just enjoyed seeing pictures of Lebanon high school sports and reading articles from Israel Potosny. And got in contact with him at the end of my senior year, and we became really good friends. He is still a huge mentor for me as far as in the media world and doing things the right and professional way. He's been awesome to learn from. But, yeah, I started out freelancing for him, going to different games, learning to take pictures, learning how to write a proper sports story, and did that for 2 or 3 years, just kind of freelancing at the newspaper. And then he left for him and his family moved away, and he told me to apply, and I was lucky enough that Dalton Wright took a chance on a 21-year-old, and the rest is kind of history. Was there for 6 years as a sports editor, saw it transition from the Daily Record to the Clee County Record, so 2 times a week was that, and was able to build relationships with coaches and players throughout the community, and I really enjoyed my time at the LCR.
So what's really cool about Jacket Nation Sports and your history is you're kind of a a hybrid model, really, because you're still writing.
Yeah.
You know, at least once a week. I saw.
Yeah,
Didn't you just put out a buzz about the?
Yeah, starting to do some fall sports previews, which is something I did for years. The newspaper every season we would do previews on teams and kind of put that into a magazine. So now I'm just writing it myself and letting the newspaper use that for their magazine. And then I have game recaps. Every Friday night I'll have a game story. And then I published something called The Buzz last year, which was kind of a weekly update in story format. We'll be doing that on Jacket Talk. But,
Yeah, I was going to say.
it will be in story format about each program, each team. And I think there's just something that means something whenever you read your name in the paper, you see your kid's name in the paper. It just has a little bit more of a sentimental value. So
I still remember. I think I still have in our garage in one of our boxes of stuff. I still have all my clippings from our.
It's cool.
2000.
There's a basement down there at the newspaper, and every newspaper that's ever been published there's multiple copies of that down there, and it's awesome just to go down there and even just getting to pick Israel's brain. Besides Kevin, he knows more about Lebanon sports than anybody else I've ever met. So, and getting to work with people like Finus Massey and Steve Smith and Ken York, those guys have been big influences for me too.
So this year, it's not the focus isn't just football. We're going to really do some things, and there's some new places folks are going to have to go this year as part of this new conference, right?
Yeah, at least no more West Plains.
No more West Plains.
Always nice to not have to take a trip to Howell County whenever you don't have to.
Right.
I mean this with all due respect. Good riddance. Like, I'm talking to that baseball dad.
So where are some of the places you kind of ran down the conference lineup, but tell us some places, specifically football, maybe other sports are going to have to go.
Yeah, so I know that there's Joplin week 2, which is
familiar.
It used to be in the Ozarks Conference back in the day, so a familiar opponent that the Yellow Jackets have faced before. Other than that, it's not too bad of a road schedule this year at Willard, at Ozark, and at Kickapoo. So,
so relatively familiar places.
15-minute trips besides the Joplin one. So, not terrible, but should be fun. I think it's always fun to play teams that you aren't used to playing. Like I always got up for the district games against Carthage and Webb City and Branson, those types of schools, because it's not a school that Lebanon's used to playing in football.
Right. So, folks, you're set to stream all 9 regular season games, right?
Yep. Home and away, no matter what.
So 5 home games. On these away games, do anything different this year? Anything special?
Yeah, so we talked about the home games having the sideline camera and how cool that's going to be to have a different angle there. And we're still trying to maybe look at a sideline camera for away games. But the main focus that we're going to do is for fans who watch an away game at home. We're going to be spotlighting different student athletes with different programs and kind of getting to know that athlete in particular and the job that they do for their respective programs, which is kind of similar. Brian filmed the Difference Maker episodes with the school district these past couple of years, and he's done an awesome job spotlighting different teachers, different transportation people, and anyone at the school district who has stood out. So it's going to be something similar to that interview style, and it's going to air at halftime of the away games. We don't have a name for that yet, which is pretty typical for us to not come up with a name for it, but it's going to be similar to the Difference Makers, and just going to be awesome to be able to highlight the job that they do in their respective programs.
So, Trey, I think this is something you might be able to speak on, but what is we talked about the golf video and the golf social media and that sort of thing. What is it meaning to those kids to have something different? What kind of response are you seeing from the kids or from other coaches in the conferences and things like that?
Oh, they light up. I mean, every single tournament we're at, somebody wants to know, whether it's a coach or a kid or a parent, what are you guys? How are you guys doing this on social media? And I'm just like, it's 98% Alex. There'll be something will happen. If he hasn't got it up, I'll send him a text and say, hey, we got this, and he gets to work on it. He's taught me a few things, and my wife's taught me a few things, so I can kind of try to trick my way through it. But for the most part, he's throwing these things out there, and the kids are just, they love it. They love getting, just their parents love getting to see them, their grandparents, their family from all over. I mean, the print media, I think Boyer touched on, will never go away fully, and I think it's super important. But in today's day and age, these parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles all over the place getting to see their family members do something that they love and do something that they take a lot of pride and put a lot of work in, and that gives them, adds to their self-worth. It isn't there. We deal with that a lot as coaches. These high-level athletes are so entwined in their, they've intertwined themselves in their athleticism, and it's not, we try to preach that it's not that way, but it makes you feel good to get recognition. And Alex has talked often about how Jacket Nation is different than his role was at the LCR, something.
Yeah, still.
Yeah. Then he was paid to be not critical, but to tell it how it was.
Right.
And now he's his own boss, and he wants to shine. There's not going to be a critique. It's not going to be, the defensive end struggled this week. We'll find a way to shine a light on something going on. And at the end of the day, it's high school sports, and most of these kids are going to be off to college and working jobs that have nothing to do with what they're doing.
Yeah.
But while they're doing it, I think it's super important for them to see, the reward of the months in the summer when it's, 104 out here.
Working
real
their tails
feel, and
off.
they're out there. Yeah, the volleyball team's in there working right now. My wife and I were dropping Marin off this morning, and the cross-country team was over by Hardy's running. I'm like, who dropped you off over here, Coach? I rolled the window down, asked Coach Smith if he's running with them. So you need a ride? And he was like, yeah. I mean, there's 14 girls and boys out running at 8:15 this morning. I mean, the community knows, but this is, they get to see more of it.
Right.
And, spotlighting these kids on away games is going to give you an opportunity to see the things that, obviously football drives a lot of viewership, and it's the thing that people want to watch, the most people want to watch the most of, but these other kids and these other sports deserve recognition too, and Alex has done a great job of that and going to level it up for sure.
Right. I'm excited because it's going to be, you mentioned it, the difference maker side of things that Swino did, but this will be some unsung heroes, some different things from different programs, maybe it might even be some kids that aren't in a program that you can go watch their games and stuff too. So I'm excited because I think we have such an ability here to bring in what people are used to seeing on TV, but we're bringing it in a Lebanon style. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, and we're trying to touch on everything whenever it comes to Friday night. I know there's so many things that make that a Friday night run successful. You have the marching band with Aaron Stewart and the LHS cheerleaders and the Dream Team and the color guard. I mean, there's so many different people that make that thing run on Friday nights, and we're doing our best to make sure that everybody gets a little bit of the spotlight, and gonna keep working towards making that happen. And
that's, it's exactly right. That's why Fridays are so special, and it's the number one recruiting pitch I've always had with these kids that weren't playing football. Like, it's not just about football. The community is, and it's what Jacket. Everybody in this room's a Yellow Jacket alumnus.
Right.
You've got Nathan. All these guys that want to be a part of this, and this community has wrapped their arms around Jacket Nation, and the kids it's because of the kids, and they had these. We talked about our experiences in high school,
right?
And it's why we're doing it, and those feelings that we had 10, 20 years ago, the kids deserve those same feelings, and they deserve to be propped up. And
it's documented now. There's always the opportunity to go back. I think you touched on it. Grandparents, parents, girlfriends, their boyfriends, we're so inundated with these things, and to be able to produce more content to put and share these stories, it's going to be really cool. I'm excited. I know the wheels are turning. We don't have a name for that segment yet,
all right.
but it'd be really cool because it'll be a reason to tune in on Friday nights. Not that there wasn't already one, right? The numbers and what you were able to do and the reach you had last year were insane, but this is just one more reason to put Jacket Nation Sports in front of people and kind of bring these different things to light. So I'm really excited. So you mentioned a second ago, a little more free time, and you mentioned baby number 2. That doesn't really, like, you actually don't have more free time now.
No, I don't know though. Football, it's a grind. Those coaching staffs, all of them. I can speak to football, but the fall is it's an intense time for those guys, and it's hard to remember it's just high school football when you're in the middle of it because it doesn't feel like it from the the pressure is felt. Moving to a new conference, there's pressure there. That whole coaching staff was instrumental in me as a person, and so they'll never be far from me. They're constant. I'm always wanting updates on how they're doing and if I can help them in any way. But they know there's pressure and they accept the challenge. But it's they work so stinking hard, and I just couldn't. I couldn't dedicate that type of time to it, and they do it. Obviously, it's great. All these guys want to be successful in their jobs, and it is a job. But it's not this isn't the SEC. It's not lucrative for any of those guys over there. They truly love the kids and love the impact they have on them. And for 99.9% of kids that leave that program, they leave. The football program is just different. There's 22 kids that start. There's no other sport that you can spread these kids out and get so many kids playing time. So many kids the feeling of, the band starting up after the touchdown. And regardless of whether you're, Jax Glendenning or me on the sideline, 10, 12 years afterwards, you still feel that same thing you felt so long ago. And yeah, I would assume that the same thing for the band alums that are in the stands. And they remember back to, the touchdown scored and the cheerleaders getting to do their performances. And it really does. It's a community builder. I'm huge on that. And I think football and Coach Christian has always used football to help strengthen and build the community. And I think it's pretty, it helps when they're good. It helps when you have a coach like Coach Christian to lead a program. But even back when the years we struggled, it was still a thing that people come around on a Friday night to come together and visit. And you've got the people coming in from a couple cities away to watch games. And I think there's a real push to make homecoming a real tradition here, like it has at our home university. And just the community connection's awesome, and I don't think you can ever replace it, really.
So you're going to, in Chalk Talk, you're going to get to have some other coaches. Give us an idea of maybe some of the coaches that are going to be on there.
Yeah, so I whoever's editing it, God bless you. But I think for week 1, we're going to do Brian Summer, who's our offensive coordinator. And if you don't know Brian, I think, everybody's seen these Netflix documentaries of these football, basketball teams and the last chance use. I truly think there is a market there. And I know that there's plenty of people making there. You could win an Emmy or Oscar or whatever following the Yellow Jacket football staff around. There are passionate is a really good word. Curtis Allen is as Lebanon as they come. Jim will be there. If anybody knows Jim Allen, he's going to have almost 100% going to have his coveralls on at the football game, and there could be something under it, but I'm not checking. And Curtis is straight off of the block. He's a
twin.
He's a twin. He was a smaller twin, but I think he's past Jim now.
You mentioned he looks like something. Curtis looks like a little.
He's kind of like a bowling ball, like the head up there.
He said it.
He's got a crazy melon on him. It's awesome. Everybody will know.
This is how you really start to build relationships with the coaches. Make fun of them.
You got to make fun of them a little bit. They make fun of us all the time. And those guys, we talked about grandparents and parents. We still want people to come to the games and support the team. All of these coaches will, if I was on a basketball game, they'd call me and be like, "You kind of suck tonight." They watch they'll watch they're watching all the football games. All these kids that we're talking about, they're out there playing. They get home and on Saturday they're watching the game back. They obviously get on and watch Huddle and critique themselves, but it's really fun for them to get on and get to see, what the 4,000 or 5,000 people that were tuning in the night before got to watch. And
it's one of the cooler parts was, last year you'd have all these friends would get together. There'd be 8 or 9 of them, and they would just go to somebody's house and just rewatch the game 2 or 3 times. And, it makes you feel good that you're able to provide. And I know a lot of people have grandparents that live out of the state or, maybe aren't able to get out and get about and come to the games. And, I mean, that's another reason why I wanted to do something like this is there's no reason that, a town like Lebanon with the community support that we have and the fans that we have, that something like this shouldn't be able to watch games.
We want people to start chatting with us too. Use that YouTube chat; it's awesome.
Yeah. It's fun to interact with people.
And constantly, you're looking down and you've got Cole Matlock in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and you got Brock West is on a business trip in Las Vegas watching. Just got married, just a few weeks ago, in the desert somewhere. But yeah, all these people from around the country literally are checking in from. And it's really fun to sit there, and I'll be able to engage a little bit more at the chat this season as I'll be up in the box a little bit more, and check in with us. Let us know where you're at.
I think
critique us.
Going back to the Chalk Talk thing with Trey is it gives fans a chance to dive into why. Like, why does Lebanon like to run the football? Because everybody thinks passing the ball is so cool, and it is. There's nothing wrong with getting some passing yards, but when you're rushing the ball for 6 or 7 yards a carry, like why do we need to complain about this? Yeah. But it's going to be, and you get to learn the lingo that the coaches use and the verbiage within the offense, and it's going to be a interesting segment, I think.
Yeah, that's another thing that they're giving us full access. So we met with them all, and I was a little nervous. I think football coaches can be. I mean, you've seen a big pull away from the media in the college and NFL games over the last 5 to 10 years, and this staff is the complete opposite. They know why it's important, and they understand that the more connected we can make this thing, the more support they're going to get, and the easier their jobs become. And you're going to hear terms that you probably will never have ever heard in your life, but hopefully we can make that connection. And the guy that's watching that's going to go coach his little kid's Mighty Might team on Saturday the next day may be able to use that lingo a little bit better. And
will it help me in college football 25?
Absolutely, yeah. If you're going to run the flex bone, you're going to learn some. I promise you.
I think I'm going to try.
We'll add some value for sure.
Well, I think we've kind of touched on quite a bit. We've went from structured and on topic to talking about bowling balls and your time in college to being a kid. But Alex, give us something going into this. This is episode 1 of the 3 beta versions of Jacket Talk. Yeah. I know, just a little teaser. Episode 2 we're recording on Monday is going to be a little bit of how this all came to play and you specifically your partnership with Kevin Stubblefield and some of that. But just give us a quick rundown of what folks can expect this season, this school year with Jacket Nation.
Just awesome coverage. I think that's the main thing is just getting a spotlight on the kids and the coaches inside the community and understanding how hard it is to play a sport in high school and to get the coverage that you deserve. I think that's the main thing that we're trying to do here, and just looking forward to, use the term level it up, but, that's what we've been doing, and I appreciate everyone all my sponsors inside the community that have been willing to make sure that this thing runs really well, and, you and Brian have been awesome to come collaborate with and bounce ideas off of. I know you probably are sick and tired of seeing me inside your building so much, and once I come in here, it's like a guaranteed 2 hours that we have to chit chat and
we come up with some new idea. Or something.
It's awesome. And then, people like Trey who give their time away from their family to make sure that this thing's working. Kevin, Austin Shoemaker, who does an awesome job running the camera for me. Garrett Brown, Mike Flanders last year, Roger Shear, all those guys. I mean, they take time away from their family to also give the spotlight to kids in the community, and I appreciate them for that. And somebody else I really need to shout out is my dad, David Boyer. He's my best friend, the guy that I go to for every little bit of piece of advice, and without him, I wouldn't have been able to get this thing off the ground in the first place. So big shout out to Pops.
Yeah, he's been pretty instrumental in this whole thing.
Yeah, he's always, no matter I'll be laying in bed wide awake at midnight trying to figure out what I can do different, and I'll send him a text and he'll be responding right away, and it's awesome to have that connection with my dad and have him be such a big fan of this.
So You heard it here. Big things coming from Jacket Nation. Trey, it's a ways out there, but it'll hit us before we know it. Golf. Give us a recap of the 2024 season and a little bit about what we're looking forward to with the golf team for 2025. It'll be 2025 season, right?
I don't love that.
I know, but it'll be here. Like,
yeah. Golly, we're halfway through this decade. Yeah, 2024 was really good. We had a super successful year as a team. We won 4 or 5 tournaments, probably definitely the most we've won since I've been a part. And then individually, I don't think probably 2 or 3 of our 15 tournaments where we didn't have a kid finish in the top 3. Ethan Mustard returns. He'll be a senior. Titan Haney will be a senior. They've played 1 and 2 all 4 years, and they'll continue to play 1 and 2 again. And then we bring back Jacob Clark. He'll be a sophomore. He played our 3 spot this year and did a really good job as a freshman. And then some newcomers to the varsity level, Trustin Cox, Lucas Tyree, Levi Collins, guys like that that'll be in the mix for a varsity spot, and a lot of freshmen from last year. We had a huge class. We're still trying to hit that next level, to level up, as you guys say, as a team, and make it to state as a team, which hasn't been done very many times in the history of Lebanon. Don't exactly pass through Lebanon and think country club sport, but we have a really cool golf history here, from the McBride family to Mitch Mather and and Cooper Hess and Trent Titus and those guys, and I fully expect Ethan and Titan to be the 2 of the next high level college athletes from the golf program, and just trying to build on what we've got going so far. And guys like Alex and Jeremy Thornhill have helped me a ton, and Matt Jernigan and guys like that have really just volunteered their time, as we talk about often, in this community and where we're at as a coaching, staff as whole, all throughout every sport. We're reliant on our volunteers, and we'll continue to do so, and super, super thankful for them.
Awesome. He didn't mention that we won the last ever Ozark Conference championship as a team, and Jacob Clark, a freshman, was the last ever Ozark Conference champion.
Right.
I'm like his PR guy. I got to tell him everything that he missed, and like, hey man, we had an Ozark Conference champion and a runner-up right behind him, Ethan Mustard. So
it's a really good point. The guys were frustrated, to be honest, about how the season ended in districts, and it is easy as a coach to forget some of the things you did, and thankful that Alex can remind me of those things, because they accomplished some awesome things, and we accomplished some awesome things, and definitely try to build on. We had an awesome senior class, Corey Huff and Cannon Roark, and then even guys like Drew Bowling, who spent 3 years playing for us, and he missed his senior season, but was super, super beneficial to building that where we're at. And we had 26 or 27 kids come out last year, and probably will have that same amount this year. And
pretty crazy. I think my senior year there was like 4 golfers.
Yeah, this is by far the biggest golf team we've ever had. Coach Christian has been instrumental in saying, I don't view this town as a country club town, and doesn't want me to cut, but understands, with 1 paid coach and 2 volunteer assistants in a golf course, it's super, super awesome to our kids and to myself. I can only keep so many kids. I mean, it's not basketball practice where they're all in one gym. When we get out there and try to use a golf course, they're spread over 150 acres, and I'm just hoping I don't come back with a 9-iron in somebody's shin. So we've so far so good, but
well, I think I'm looking forward to it. I've followed along with it all year last year, and watched Ethan and of course friends with the Haneys and stuff. So it's been pretty cool to see. And then Alex, you brought up, I didn't realize it was the last Ozark.
It was the last ever.
I didn't think of it.
That one's gonna sit well.
So the Highway 5 trophy resides in.
Come get it.
Yeah. Lebanon football won the last ever Ozark Conference championship. The girls track and field team won the last ever Ozark Conference championship, and boys golf. I think those were the 3 that, and then of course the Highway 5 trophy. So we'll see. Maybe we'll meet up with Purple in the playoffs and get to play for the trophy again. But yeah, for now it resides at 777 Bryce Street.
They know where to find it if they want it.
These guys, they get a little more intense than I do, but it is pretty cool. So, well, thanks for checking it out, Trey. Thanks for stopping in and breaking down golf and some of the chalk talk stuff. Alex, always a pleasure.
I'm sure I'll see you in a couple hours.
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll have something to talk about.
So stay tuned. Like I said, this is Jacket Talk episode 1, the beta version. We've got 2 more coming. Third episode will be a breakdown and an in-depth look at 2024 football season for sure.
Yes, sir.
And then we'll talk a little bit more about some fall sports. But I'm excited to talk about episode 2 and let the folks hear how you and Kevin were able to partner up and make this thing happen. So
it was fun.
Be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for a little fun video we did too, where kind of announcing that and how Kevin picked.
Yes.
So it's going to be kind of fun. So, guys, thank you. Look forward to doing this some more, and look forward to editing the bowling ball.
That's going to be a fun one.
All right, guys.
All right. Go Jackets.